Hey guys, thanks for coming back to my channel. Well, Avengers Endgame comes out in just about 3 months. We've had one trailer, so we're bound to get another one soon. I have no idea what's going to happen in Avengers Endgame, but I'm very excited to find out. But I do have some thoughts and opinions about what I think should happen, or at least what I would like to see happen in Avengers Endgame. So I thought I'd make a little video just talking about 5 things I would like to see in Avengers Endgame. So without further ado, let's get started. I would like to see Thanos come back. I want to see where Thanos is in his life. At the end of Infinity War, he had completed his mission. He had wiped out 50% of the life in the universe was dusted. It's gone. That was Thanos' dream. That was his life goal, and he completed it. So in Avengers Endgame, I want to see where Thanos is. Where is his state of mind at now that he has completed his mission? Is it everything he hoped it would be? Does he have a little bit of regret or remorse? He did have to kill his favorite daughter, Gamora, in order to complete this mission. And in Infinity War, through Josh Brolin's masterful acting, we saw the heartbreak and toll that took on Thanos as he watched Gamora plummet to her death. So I think it'd be really cool to catch up with this character and to see where his head is at now that he has accomplished his goal. Another thing I would like to see is some permanent death. In Infinity War, we had to watch a lot of characters that we love die. And a couple of those characters died even before the snap. Some of those characters I would actually like to see stay dead. I think you could keep Heimdall dead. He is a character that has been in all the Thor movies, but he hasn't actually had that big of a role. So I think if you kept him dead, that would be okay. Another character I think it would be okay to keep dead is Loki. Now, I love Tom Hiddleston's performance as Loki. I love the Loki character. But where they ended Loki in Thor Ragnarok and at the beginning of Infinity War, when he has that little reconciliation with Thor and he finally announces himself as Odin's son, I think that's a good place to leave the character. And even though the way Loki went out was heartbreaking, I like the place that they ended the character in. And I think it's a great way to end the story of Loki. Plus, even Thanos himself said, no resurrections this time. And I'd kind of like to see Marvel stick to that. It would be the 3rd time that Loki came back from the dead, and I think that would be a bit too much. The 3rd thing I would like to see is Captain Marvel have a big role in the movie, but I don't want to see her be the hero. What I mean by this is, at the end of Infinity War, in the post-credit scenes, Nick Fury sends out a message to Captain Marvel before he dusts. I'm assuming he's sending her a message of help. Now, through this post-credit scene and through the marketing for the Captain Marvel movie, which I have yet to see, it seems pretty obvious that Marvel is setting this up to be a really important character, that she's going to have a big role in this next Avengers movie. However, I don't want to see her have the heroic moment. I want that to go to one of the OG Avengers, one of the Avengers we have been invested in for 10 years. And that brings me to number 2. I'd like to see a sacrifice. With the trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home coming out, and the announcement of a Doctor Strange 2 and a Black Panther 2, I think it's pretty safe to assume that these dusted characters are not going to stay dusted for very long. However, the way they bring back these characters I think is going to be really important, because the worst thing I think that they could do is bring back these characters and make it feel like a cop-out. Make it feel like what happened in Infinity War didn't matter. And I think the way I would like to see this avoided is to have one of the characters have to sacrifice themselves to bring the other characters that were dusted back. And I think that character should be Tony Stark. I love Robert Downey Jr. in the role of Iron Man. I don't want to see him go. I want to see him continue in this universe for a very long time. However, if you look at his character journey, he starts off in Iron Man 1 being a person that only cares about himself. He is blind to what his business and what his inventions are doing to the world until he is in a situation where he sees that firsthand. Then decides to change to protect the people from the very thing that he helped create. Then you see him in Avengers start to learn how to work with other people and how to be part of a team. And when he goes up into the wormhole with the nuclear bomb, he sees a threat that only he understands, that only he sees the potential of coming. And from that moment on, he is constantly trying to think of ways to prevent this threat from ever happening. And then we see in the beginning of Age of Ultron, when Scarlet Witch messes with his mind, that he has this vision, his fear of all the other Avengers dead around him, as the alien army from the first Avengers enters through the wormhole. This sets him off to create Ultron, or as he puts it, a suit of armor around the world. That goes horribly wrong, and once again, humanity is at risk by something that Tony Stark had created. Then you cut to Infinity War, where his technology is the best it's ever been with the nanotechnology, and he comes face to face with the threat that he has feared in Thanos. And what does Thanos do? He kicks Tony's butt. He destroys him. Not only does he destroy him, but he makes his greatest fear become a reality when he does the snap, and half of humanity and the Avenger family that Tony Stark had come to know and love dies. I think the worst part about it for Tony is that he has to sit and watch his greatest fear come true. So I think a really cool way to end Tony Stark's character arc and story, give him the heroic moment and have him be the one who sacrifices himself to bring all these dusted characters back. We have been with Tony Stark for the past 10 years. We have seen his character grow and evolve into the man that he is in Infinity War. One who cares about other people and cares about the Avengers around him, and I think having him sacrifice himself to bring all those characters back would just be a really beautiful way to end his story and his character arc. I would hate to see Robert Downey Jr. go in this role. His performance as Tony Stark has always been great. But as the saying goes, all good things must come to an end, and I think in regards to Tony Stark, this would be a pretty great way for it to end. And the number one thing that I want to see happen in Avengers Endgame is what the state of the world is at. Thanos took out half of humanity. I want to see the state of the world after that's happened. In the post-credit scene of Infinity War, we see cars crashing into one another. We see helicopters crashing into buildings. This is a post-apocalyptic event. And even in the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, see on the TV, it's a state of emergency. We hear people screaming in the background. This is a horrific scene. I want to see the events of that. The Avengers broke up at the end of Captain America Civil War. And because of that, they weren't all together to face this threat in Infinity War, which caused them to have their greatest loss yet with half of humanity being dusted. So I want to see the consequences of that. What has the Avengers' loss done to the world and to humanity? I also don't want to see this take place a couple days or a couple weeks after Infinity War. I want to see this take place a couple months to at least a year after Infinity War. I think the consequences of this loss should last for a while. I don't think they should be fixed in just a couple days. This was a huge loss for the Avengers, and I want to see the consequences of this loss on the world. Anyways, those are the 5 things I want to see in Avengers Endgame. What do you want to see in Avengers Endgame? Put your comments down below and let me know. In the end, it's all going to be up to Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers, and I, for one, am very excited to see what they decide to do. Thanks again for watching this video. My name's Zachary Mellon, and I hope you have a marvelous day.